Hey, it's Mark Ferguson with Invest for More, and welcome to another Fix and Flip video. This is another one of the full videos I'm doing with the before, after videos together, and quite a bit of other commentary and information in between as well. So this is a house I bought sort of from a wholesaler. At least they gave me the lead, and I ended up doing about 15,000 of work into it. Bought the house for 201,000. Ended up selling it for 275,500. So we made a good profit on it. Had some hiccups along the way, had some appraisal issues. When I first bought the house, I bought it with hard money, so I've only used hard money twice. And I'm going to go through exactly how I used hard money, what the costs were, and all of that to do this. And so we had an issue there when I bought it. And then we had another issue when I sold the house with the appraisal as well, which I'll go over. And I had a huge mistake I made on a contract, which actually worked out in the end, but it was one of the biggest mistakes I've made in a long time, and I just felt like a complete idiot. So we'll talk about all of that, show you the house, and go through the whole process of this flip. And of course, you can check out information on all my flips with numbers, before and after videos on investformore.com. That's invest, FOURMORE.com, and go to my resources page and you can find my fix and flip scoreboard. And of course, I also have some books on Amazon, including Fix and Flip Your Way to Financial Freedom if you're interested in learning more information on how I'm flipping my houses. All right, let's get straight to how I bought this house.
All right, so what you're looking at here is the settlement sheet from when I bought this property. So I sort of bought it from a wholesaler. The wholesaler couldn't make the deal work with the sellers. They asked me if I want to try and negotiate with them. I actually got a deal done. So I ended up buying the house for $201,000. Part of that deal was I thought the roof was bad when I first bought it. And in the contract, it said the sellers would replace the roof since they would get insurance money, their insurance would pay for it, and they'd have the roof done. Well, when they had their insurance adjuster look at the roof, he found out it wasn't in bad shape. It was okay. And when I had my roofer go back to look at it, he agreed. He said he messed up the first time. He thought I said the roof was already bad, and he just gave us a bid to replace it. He didn't actually inspect the roof. So the roof was fine. So we bought it for $201,000 and got a decent roof. So I didn't try to renegotiate or change that price. I also used hard money when I bought this property. So I have not used hard money much in the past because of the fees, because of the time it takes, and kind of the hassle it is using hard money. So the loan I got was 9% interest and 1.75 origination fee. And then you can see the loan origination fee right here. That's based off a loan amount of $178,850. What they did is they loaned 85% of the purchase price plus 100% of the repairs. So I thought it was just going to take $8,000 for repairs when I bought it. It ended up being more than that with the furnace and some other things. But it's kind of weird how they do this. They have this as a debit, so these are all the things I have to pay for when I buy the house, and this is a credit, which is all the things I get. I paid earnest money when I bought it, so I get my earnest money back when I buy it, the loan, and then some prorated taxes. So that's how a settlement sheet works. You have all the things that you're getting, and then all the things you have to pay for, and when you balance those out, it comes up with how much money you have to pay at closing, which was $34,624 in this case. So that's the origination fee, but they have other fees too. So this is lending one who I've used. I think they're decent with rates. They're easy to work with, but all the hard money guys have a lot of fees they tack on. So like this processing fee, document preparation fee, there's usually a draw fee. So I didn't actually use this money. I just I wasn't paying interest on it unless I used it, so I never asked for the draw, which is the inspection to see if the work is done, and then they pay you back this money for the loan. And usually they charge you for a draw as well. So there's all kinds of ways that you can get charged with hard money lenders, and that's why I don't like to use them. And there's also a charge for a BPO. So they said there's no appraisal needed, but they actually needed a BPO done, which was like $450, which is crazy expensive for a BPO. The BPO came in low, like they only came in at like $205,000 or something. I think they're valuing it as is instead of the repaired value. So we got that fixed and we got the loan to go through, but there were quite a few costs involved. And then you can see the interest they charge. That's from the time I buy the house until my first payment. So when you're getting a mortgage or a loan and the lender makes a big deal about how you don't have to make a payment for 2 months, or the next month you have no payment, like this is a great bonus, you're still paying interest for that time. They're just charging you up front. So it's not really a bonus not to have your first payment. You're just paying that interest up front instead of paying it when it's actually due. So, yeah, not that big of a deal to be skipping a payment when you get a mortgage. And we had the title, closing fee, some title insurance costs, processing fee, hold open. So this is something very interesting for flippers. We use this title company to buy it, and we'll use the title company to sell it as well. So the seller is paid for the title insurance, which would be $1,000, $1,100 or so on this property. By getting a hold open policy, we only have to pay $96 for the title company to insure the property when we sell it as well. So they just have to cover from the time I own it until the time I sell it. And as long as you complete that within a year, you can use this hold open policy, which saves you from spending another $1,000, $1,100 as a seller when you sell the property. So hold open policies can save you a lot of money, and more recording fees, stamps. Those were all kind of the hard money lender fees there. So that shows how much we paid, a lot of the fees that come with a hard money loan, and then how a settlement sheet looks like. They can be kind of confusing if you've never seen one before. If you have an agent, they should help you figure it out. The title company should help you figure it out. If you have a lender, they should help you figure it out, what exactly the costs are and what is going on here. And it does not hurt to double check these. If there's something weird, fees you don't think should be on there, it's fine to question them. We have seen things done wrong by title companies before. Nikki on my team was selling a commercial property at the end of last year where they had a deposit, a security deposit for the lease, and the title company credited it to the seller instead of crediting it to the buyer. So it should have been the buyer getting a $4,500 security deposit, and instead the title company gave it to the seller. So it was like a $9,000 swing, and the buyer didn't realize it till a month or two after closing, and everyone else missed it. So things can go wrong, so make sure you double check those things. All right, so let's take a look at the house right now. We'll take a look at it inside and outside. I'll give you all the numbers. Make sure you check out investormore.com for more information on all my flips. If you go under my resources page, you'll see my fix and flip scoreboard, which has before and after videos, just about every property and numbers, profit potential, all that stuff. All right, you'll have to excuse me if I start coughing and hacking up a lung. I'm a little sick, but I'll try not to cough too much. Bought this property for $201,000. Doesn't need much work at all. I'm thinking around $10,000 we can probably get all this done. Mostly flooring and paint. ARV is around $265,000, so not a huge profit potential there. But because it's such an easy flip, I was willing to do this deal. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths up, another bedroom, another bath down, 2-car garage, and it's a newer house as well. Kind of interesting how I bought this one. I had a wholesaler who I buy a lot of properties from. He left us a TV. I'm sure it works awesome. But the wholesaler gave me a price for this property. It wasn't quite working. It was a little high. And they said they couldn't get the seller down. So like, hey, do you want to talk to the seller directly, see if you can make anything work? And I did, talk to the seller. We ended up agreeing to a deal. It was actually $201,000, and they were supposed to get the roof replaced because my roofer said it was bad, but it turns out the roof wasn't bad. My roofer looked at it in the evening and thought we had told him it was already bad, so he just gave us a price to fix it. But so I stuck to my deal, said, hey, I'll still buy it for $201 since the roof is good. You know, I'm not going to renegotiate. So we got it for $201. As you can see, definitely needs some paint, touch-ups here and there. Carpet is not great, but it does have hardwood, as you can see before, in the living room. All right, it definitely pays to make friends with wholesalers, agents, people who send you deals. The wholesaler who I got this from, a couple others, you know, will actually come to me first on some of these deals and see if they can make it work with me before sending them to anybody else. Just because they know I'm so easy to work with, they don't have to worry about, you know,
explaining the repairs, the ARV, and doing the whole investing process for an investor. They can give me an address, a price, and I can take it from there. And the better you treat people, the more deals you'll get too. You know, I always stick to my word. I always do what I'm going to say. I don't try and renegotiate unless it's absolutely necessary. This is the master bedroom. As you can see, 3/4 bath. Not a huge bath, but that's what you get in these kind of smaller ranch homes. Walk-in closet. And we'll take a trip downstairs. So if you guys missed it, on my site, Invest for More, I've got an article that outlines all my goals for 2018. And I'm planning, my goal is to make $100,000 a month flipping houses. So that equates to about 3 sales a month. Last year in 2017, I sell 26 flips. So I have to do 10 more than last year, which I think I can do. But definitely check out that article. I also posted a podcast about it as well. Lots of great information on goals, how they'll help you be successful, how they've helped me be successful, and lots of other good stuff. And got a lot of other goals too, besides just flipping. All right, so we walked through the family room, walked through the 4th bedroom. Here's the laundry room, hot water heater, furnace. Little storage room, they left me a bunch of movies, yay. And then the bathroom here, which smells just like a litter box. They did have a cat in a litter box in here the first time I saw it. So I tried to hold my breath. All right, so that's the house. Like I said, not too bad. Doesn't need a whole lot of work. Hopefully we can keep it under 10,000. Probably not, because I always underestimate things. But we'll see how it goes. Hopefully the furnace and everything checks out okay. We know the roof's good. It's a newer house, so that's nice too, because there's usually less surprises with newer homes. This one just finished up a couple days ago. We'll walk through it, show you everything, numbers and what we repaired. This was a fairly easy flip, so those are always nice to have. We have 18 flips going right now. We have 6 listed, 5 under contract to sell, and we've got 2 more we're listing today, including this one. So should have a bunch of them selling here soon. I've got details on all of those on my website, investformore.com. Under my resources, you can see the fix and flip property scoreboard. We've got all the flips on there with before and after videos that we've done the last 2 years almost. So there's like 50 some flips on there, I think. We bought this property for $201,000. It was from a wholesaler. If you want to see the before video, we'll have that in the description. It was not in horrible shape, very dirty. We had to come through, paint it. Did not do anything to the kitchen. New appliances. The floors we just cleaned up, put in new carpet in some spots, painted the outside of the house. And we ended up having to replace the furnace. It was spouting out a bunch of carbon monoxide, so we had to replace that. And all in all, I think we spent $15,000 on this remodel. I was hoping to get it done for under 10, but the furnace pushed us over a little more than I hoped. But still should be a good property. We're gonna be listing it for $274,900, and then there'll be $15,000 or so in carrying costs, selling costs, which include, paying another real estate agent commission to sell it. My loan costs, I am an agent, so don't have to pay anyone to list it. We can do that ourselves. As you can see, the house, new paint. Did not do anything with the trim, just painted the walls. New carpet. The paint color looked really good with that oak trim, but it's kind of bright and not as amazing with the white trim in the bedrooms. But I think it still looks okay. We also replaced the doors throughout the house. Here's other bedroom upstairs. And it's funny, Nikki and I, who's my project manager, just walked through and we realized we forgot to replace the vinyl in this bathroom. We forgot to tell the flooring guy to do that. So we'll have our
kind of handyman come do that today real fast and lay some vinyl down. But besides, oh, we need a shower head too. Just saw that. You always find new things. But yeah, just real simple rehab, which is nice because it's so easy to spend a ton of money on these properties. We also replaced the light fixtures. And we're gonna have our guy come back and clean up the backyard as well. Because they cleaned it up a little bit, but not quite as good as it needed. And it is winter in Colorado, even though it's about 55 degrees out right now. So we can't really put sod down or anything like that, it'll just die. But there's the back of the house, you can see. It was repainted as well. And the master bedroom is right over here. New carpet, new paint, new light fixture. Did not do hardly anything in this bathroom, except for paint, really. As I've said before, the costs when you're repairing a house can add up very quickly. So the more economical you can be, usually the better, as long as it still looks decent. Here's the basement where we did carpet, paint as well. Had that little bar area down here, and our contractor was supposed to just put it back, but he turned it around, and then it used to have like some panels right there that are gone now. So we told our handyman just to come over, trash that, get rid of that, and we'll just leave it a nice open space. Here is fourth bedroom downstairs. See, it's got a new door too. There's a big hole in the drywall up there that we fixed and patched up. And then here is the third bathroom downstairs, which is not, you know, super fancy, but it works. All right, so that is pretty much the house. Like I said, we'll be listing it for $274,900. Very few houses for sale still in our area. The number of active listings in Greeley, Colorado, where I'm at, is at 72 right now, with a town with over 100,000 people. So that's why our prices keep going up. There's just no houses for sale. They started building a little bit more, but still very little building going on, and that's just causing prices to keep going up. So this should be a good one, should sell fast with the low inventory, and can move on and keep buying more properties. All right, I am back checking up on this house. We had it listed for $274,900. Went under contract, and it actually is probably going to fall right back out of contract again. Oh, look, there's a cat trying to chase a squirrel right out there. But I thought I'd just walk through real fast, and whenever we put a house back on the market, it's really good to walk through it, make sure it's clean, make sure there's no surprises in the toilets or anything like that, make sure, you know, there's no vandalism, the inspectors didn't mess something up. The inspectors are notorious for leaving the covers off furnaces, leaving attic access off. Not all inspectors, most inspectors are great, but some are just very lazy in putting stuff back how they found them. So just walk through the house, make sure it all looks okay, it's somewhat clean. It doesn't really hurt to get it cleaned again as well. Won't take very much. I think there's a little bit of dirt and stuff on the floors here. This house fell out of contract due to lender issues and because I made a huge mistake on my part. I made one of the biggest mistakes I've ever made as an agent or investor. And we probably could have saved the deal, or at least prolonged it, if I hadn't made that mistake. But because I made that mistake, I was actually just fine canceling the deal. And what I did, as we walk through the house. It's not too dirty, but I had it listed for $274,900. Got an offer for $260,000. Actually, we originally got an offer for $280,000 right away. And now there's another cat out there. That's cat house. Got another offer for $280,000. Went to accept it, and before we accepted, the agent's like, "Oh, our buyers found another house. We're canceling our contract." So I'm like, "Oh, that's annoying." So anyway, still in the market. Got offered for $260,000. I'm like, "That's a little low. We've only had it on the market a couple days." So I was going to counter at $272,000 and just counter some dates. Well, when I countered, I put $272,000 in the counter, but I accidentally omitted that part of the contract from the counter. So I countered them at $260,000, and I sent the counter off, and they accepted it in like 4 seconds. I'm like, why are they accepting this counter so fast? I was expecting some negotiation. And it was actually a few days later when I realized, I think it was Nikki who was looking at the paperwork. She's like, "Didn't you counter these guys at $272,000? I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "There's no price on this counter. You would counter them at $260,000. So I made a $12,000 mistake because I didn't check the contract and make sure I put the right price in there. Like I said, huge mistake. But while we were doing this deal, we had it under contract, got through inspection, made a few inspection repairs, nothing major. Well, then this house was actually supposed to close today. And I had 2 other flips close today. It's going to be a good day. Well, this week, the title company called us and said, "Hey, we haven't got any lender figures. We haven't had much contact at all in this file. What's going on? We can't get a hold of the lender." And we're like, "I'm not sure. We haven't heard anything from the other agent." So we call the agent. He says, "Oh, everything's fine. No problems. Just, have to get a few things cleared up with the buyer's, lender, but everything's fine. We're clear to close." Well, Thursday, which is yesterday, the day before we're supposed to close, we get a notice that an appraisal is scheduled. And we're like, "What? There's no way you can get an appraisal done, completed, signed off by the lender in one day." And so again, we call the agent, and he's like, "Oh, no, that's not correct. The appraisal's done. There's no problems. Everything's fine." And we're like, "Okay." And later that day, the agent calls and says, "Oh, we had some lender issues. We have to extend closing a week, but everything's fine." And we're like, "What about the appraisal? And you told us it appraised fine. Why is it being appraised?" And he's like, "Well, they had to switch lenders and get a new appraisal." So they did have to do a new appraisal. The agent was basically lying to us, telling us everything was fine when he knew there were major problems, knew there were going to be delays. And that, coupled with the $12,000 mistake I made in countering their offer, I decided not to give them an extension. I just canceled the deal. We'll put it back on the market and see how that goes, because it should sell for much more than $260,000. And I felt really stupid for doing that. So if we can get it back on the market and sell it for more than, probably more than $270,000, it will more than make up for the time that it takes to sell it again and make me feel much better about my bonehead move. Now, if the buyers would have performed on their side, done everything correct, been upfront, been honest, I probably would have kept going. I probably would have extended for them. However, that was not the case. In my experience, when they're lying like that, when they're not telling the truth, when they won't respond to you, you're only asking for more and more problems. And I have a highly doubt this actually would have closed had we continued with them and given them an extension. So it probably worked out best in the long run to just put this back in the market. Like I said, looks fairly decent. Could use someone just sweeping up a little bit, but no major surprises here. So glad I came back over just to take a look at it, tell you guys a little story, and hopefully a way to learn that to always double check your paperwork, make sure everything is as you want it to be before you send it off, because once that contract was signed, if I really, really wanted to push the issue, I might have been able to cancel the deal and get out of it, but they could have sued me. It could have been a giant mess. All right, we'll have another video coming up after this sucker is sold. We'll give you all the numbers, and hopefully it's good news. All right, so as you can see, we had some issues getting this house sold. We had it under contract right away, and I made that huge mistake sending the counter without the price. So instead of a $270,000, $280,000 offer, I accepted $260,000. So I'm glad it fell apart. And in the end, that agent and lender who were representing those buyers was horrible. It took him 2 weeks to send us back the earnest money and termination paperwork after we sent it to him. So his buyers had to wait around forever to get their earnest money back. It was just a crazy situation. I have no confidence that deal would have closed if we would have extended it. So I'm glad we canceled it. We put the house right back on the market. We got an offer for $281,000 a couple days later. So great, $21,000 mistake. It almost was, not just $12,000. That deal went through, had some inspection issues, minor stuff we took care of. Then the appraisal came along, and the appraisal came in low. Just like, we've had so many appraisals come in low. And this is why we don't repair every single thing in a house. This is why we don't make a house absolutely perfect and tear down walls and do tons of landscaping, because we run into appraisal issues on so many houses. We'll never get that money back. The extra money we're spending is just a waste, because it's hard to get houses to appraise for full value. Our market is so strong. So the house appraised for $271,000. Our offer price was $281,000. However, the buyers wrote into their offer that they would pay like $274,900, or they'd make up the difference in the appraised value and the contract price if the appraisal was above $274,900. So it's kind of weird how it's written. And basically we negotiated and said, hey, how about $276,000? They came at $275,500 is what we settled on for the final closing. So we sold it for $275,500 after my big mistake. So it was a $15,500 difference between the $260,000 first offer and the $275,000 final selling price. Got the house sold. Wasn't too big of a deal. And now we'll check out the final numbers.
Okay, so we did end up selling the house, and you're kind of looking at our sheet here that shows the cost, what we made, expenses, all of that. Like I said, I almost cost myself more than $12,000 by sending the wrong counter. Huge mistake on my part. And what happened was that offer tried to extend multiple times because they couldn't get their loan to go through. In the end, we ended up canceling it because we had no faith in it. Their agent took like 2 or 3 weeks to sign the termination and earnest money release. The buyers kept calling the title company. Their agent would not respond. So we are very happy we ended up canceling that, because I don't think it would have gone through even if we decided to keep giving them more time. So we ended up getting another offer on the house. It was $281,000. And then the appraisal came along, and the appraisal came in at $271,000. We've had tons of appraisal issues where appraisals come in low. So again, that is one reason why we don't make these houses perfect and spend tons of money on them, because you will not get that money back in many cases, because they won't appraise high enough, even if you spend that extra money. So we ended up negotiating with the buyers who had said when they first gave us their contract they would pay for some difference in appraisal versus purchase price, and we ended up selling it for $275,500. So a $15,000 difference between the second contract and the first time we had it under contract. So I was super happy that the first one fell apart, made a big difference to me, and helped me feel better about that big mistake I made. So yeah, we ended up buying it for $201,000. We'll show you what the costs were. Sold it for $275,500 and made out okay on this deal. All right, so hard money fees. Showed you some of these in the very beginning, but origination fee $31,2988, the processing fee $100, the document fee $595, and there's the appraisal fee, which is actually for a BPO that I paid separate before I first bought it, and then had about $5,764 of interest while we owned it. So a little over $10,000 in hard money fees to buy that property. Repairs is about $11,000 for the interior work, $4,000 or so for the furnace. So we spent about $15,000, which was more than I wanted to, but still definitely acceptable to spend that much money on this flip. And then we have the carrying costs. So taxes while I own the property were about $430. Insurance about $500. We have utilities for electric, gas while we owned it. This was during the winter, so these costs are a little higher in Colorado than they may be in the summer. And then we had some water costs, so about $2,000 in carrying costs while we owned the property. And then selling costs, so about $8,200 or so to pay another real estate agent who had the buyer when we sold the house. So we pay 3% commission, $165 in closing fees, and then about $750 in title fees, which I included kind of from when I bought it and when I sell it. I grouped those together, but to pay the title company, recording fees, all that different stuff. So about a little over $9,000 in selling fees as well. So if we add all those costs up, about $36,224 in total costs. So this is actually a very cheap flip compared to a lot of the properties. The repairs were cheap. We sold it very quickly, which helps keep your financing costs, carrying costs down, and it worked out pretty well, even though we had one contract fall apart, had to put it back on the market. So here you can see sold for $275,500, bought for $201,000, total cost $36,224, and we ended up making $38,276 on this property. So great flip. Love to make that much money, especially on an easy flip that didn't take that much work. And love to have 10 more of those just like that, but they are definitely hard to find in this market. All right, so that's the video. Hope you liked it. Give us a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. I can answer them as best I can. And again, Invest for More has much more information on all my flips, being an agent, rental properties, and all things real estate related. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it.